What's good, everyone? Hope everybody had a good evening. I want to first off saying happy Sunday. Um, Hope y'all doing all right. Thank you to everybody who came through on our live stream yesterday with Girls Gone Canon. I really appreciate y'all coming through and hanging out with us. Um, let's see. Do I have any announcements? You know what? I'll save my PSAs for later on because I don't want to drag this whole thing out. AK will be joining us in a few minutes, but I'm just gonna go ahead and let T Baby say hi real quick.
Hey everyone, look, I'm going faceless today because my body hurts, okay? Be thankful I'm here, but I'm excited to talk about season 3. We're just going to call this season 3 of the backstabbers because everyone was backstabbing everyone. So I'm hyped to see what we got to talk about.
Okay, so I'm gonna do like a quick like recap of the season. So when we left off last season, we find out that Naomi didn't destroy the protomolecule like she said, but she ends up giving it to Fred Johnson, Christian Avasarali, and her bodyguard were trapped inside the ship by James Mao. Jules Pierre Mao said James Mao. By Jules Pierre Mao. And he leaves because Aaron Wright betrayed her. So he leaves and they're supposed to be killing her off. But she escapes with Bobby. And old boy ends up staying behind to kind of be like their, like, you know what I mean? To kind of hold everybody back while they escape. And then what else do we got going on? I think that's mostly it. Oh, and also everybody's trying to figure out what's happening on Venus because that's where Eros crash lands, is on Venus. So we pick up with this particular season in season 3, with everybody on the Rasanade. There's a lot of tension because the crew of the Rasanade, everybody in the crew is kind of mad. Well, I shouldn't say kind of mad. They are mad at Naomi because of the fact that she lied to everybody and she withheld that information, even though in her mind, she felt that she was doing the right thing for the belt, right? And then we have another distress call that comes in, and they end up rescuing Avasarala and Bobby, right? That's that. Then we now have the belt now. The belt now has their own ship, right? And then Drummer is the person who is now the captain of the ship. And now they introduce a new person named Ashford. And Ashford is going to be like her second in command, right? And that's that part. And then now there's a lot of demonstration going on in Earth because of everything that popped off on Ganymede and things that are going on in between. And then I believe also there was they got wind of something that what happened on Ganymede. I think they knew what happened on Ganymede. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. And then there was a lot of demonstration going on Earth. So let's see. As we move along, we find Jules Pierre. Now we're starting to find out what's happening with that little girl that was abducted, right? Because her dad now is with the Rasanade crew, and they are going to go and try to find his daughter and rescue her. So now we're getting kind of like more of a backstory about what happened to his daughter and who she's with and what's going on. And now we're getting a little bit more insight into how they were using the protomolecule. With that, you also have now we've introduced a new character named Anne, who happened to be friends with the whoever the prime minister, the governor or the prime minister, I forgot what he's called. So he has her come to Earth to kind of help him to write a speech, you know what I mean? To write a speech in order to try to kind of bring everybody together. And so, but apparently you can tell that they have history with each other, because apparently he had enlisted her help from before, and it went left basically. And so she kind of left him alone. But you still have Ehrenreich, who is kind of like pressing for them to go to war with Mars, right? He's really pressing the issue. And you would know why from back in the last season when he had double crossed the Martian envoy and killed him off, and then had sent that message to Jean-Pierre Mao, which plays a part later on, because when Christian gets on board the Rocinante, she gets somebody sends it to her. I can't remember who, but somebody sends her the recording of Ehrenreich, and she sends that recording to Anne, and then Anne then in turn shows it to the governor, and then Ehrenreich ends up getting arrested after that. And on top of that, Naomi eventually leaves the Rocinante crew, and she ends up being the chief engineer in the Behemoth, which now belongs to the Belt. So now the Belt has their own ship, and then you have Earth, and then you have Mars. So now the Belt is now considered on equal footing, because now they have some sort of, how would you call it? They have now a military presence, right? They have their own ship. They have protomolecule, and they have the scientists. And keep in mind, even though they have the protomolecule and the scientists, there's still kind of like tension in between the both of them, because Dawes has the scientists and Fred Johnson has the protomolecule. So they both need each other in order to kind of maintain the whole Belt and OPA relationship, right? And also remember that Fred Johnson still has a few of those missiles that they didn't use when they were trying to destroy Eros. So he also has that. So all of that has now placed the Belt in a more equal footing with Mars and with Earth. Cool. We got that part. So now we have all of these things happening, and in the midst of all of that, we still have the Rocinante crew who's trying to figure out, well, Holden's main thing is he wants to get rid of all the protomolecule. That's his main thing. And in the midst of all of that happening, he starts to see visions of Miller. Like all of a sudden he starts to see visions of Miller, which it was kind of freaky, because at first when I first saw him, I was like, Miller's still alive? But we come to find out that Miller is just a projection that he gets in his head. So he's the only one that is actually seeing Miller. And Miller is kind of like guiding him through to get to, I guess he's trying to lead him to go into Venus, because he's trying to figure out what happened to the elders, the people who or the entities or the people who created the protomolecule. He's trying to figure out what happened to them, and so he's trying to solve that mystery. So this is the new mystery that's being solved by Miller. So we have all of that going on. I think I've talked enough. I think I've kind of set the tone for what was happening. So I'm going to ask T, what was your thoughts? I mean, how did you feel, or what was going through your mind when everybody on Rocinante now finds out that Naomi had lied to everybody and that she didn't destroy it, that she gave the protomolecule to Fred Johnson? Did you kind of understand where she was coming from? or did you agree with the crew that they had every right to be mad?
Like they had her, but at the same time, I think she made the right decision because I think, especially now, is more of a like power of balance or balance of power, and so I think what really got them is the fact that she lied to him about it. Because I think if they would have done what they normally do, which is argue till they come up with a solution, I think most of them probably would have agreed with her. Maybe Holden probably would have been the only one who didn't. But I think the other two, like Alex and what's it, Amos, I think they would end up agreeing because then it would be like, okay, we all have equal footing. Because at the end of the day, I think everyone needs this type of weapon because what they're about to face most likely next season, or basically what they were facing now in this season. So I get why it after all the things that they've been through for her to just, and she's like the more level-headed one out of everyone there. So I think that's why it hit everyone the hardest because she's, well, it came off like, y'all, but I'm always going to be a belter. That's what it came off when she gave the molecule to, I call him the Wire because that's the only way I can remember him. But that's what it came off as. It's like, oh, she's just thinking of her peoples, not really us. Even though she was like, we have to make it equal. Otherwise, Mars and Earth is going to get carried away. And if the Belters didn't have that weapon, I think they would have got way more. They would have got this shit in the stick, basically. I mean, but they definitely needed this in order to fight off what's about to happen. And they needed so that they could be a part of how can I say it? They needed it so they could be a big piece on the game. If that makes sense, they need to be able to step, because they were basically trying to, rise up anyway. From season 1, they were trying to rise up and, claim their independence. And so with this new technology, it kind of switched everything around, and it was the opportunity they needed to be one of the big players in the game. So that's what I think when it came to, like, as far as, how they felt about her giving it up. Yeah, it was messed up how she went about it because they were so close and they all been through so much together. But I don't think she was wrong for giving them that so that everyone could be on equal footing. Even if she wasn't a belter, it would have been the right move.
Okay, great. AK, I know you just came back. You can, if you want, you could just say hi to everybody. And the question was, do you agree with what Naomi did? And do you think that the crew was right to be upset with her?
Yeah, what's good, folks in the chats? Thanks for having me on again 2 days in a row. I feel special, Monero. For Naomi, I do think I agree with T. I think she did the right thing because the Belters have been getting, crapped on since forever, it seems. So you can't have this extra new high power come in and then Earth and Mars are the only ones that have it. That just makes things worse. That's a no-go. Naomi did what she was supposed to do. Should the crew have been upset? Yes. I definitely get and understand why they were upset. My only real issue with the crew in their feelings, I think, is Holden. Holden, when he gets in his moods and he's going off and half-cocked and being reckless in the way he's executing some of his plans, he still expects people to do exactly what he says when he says it. No questions asked. Are you refusing to follow a direct order? How many times has that come up throughout the past seasons? So for him to be the extra, with dealing with this and how long it went on with him being upset with Naomi, it's that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because, dude, it's not like you haven't gone off and done your own thing as well for the betterment of the crew as you saw it. but now someone else does it and you have a problem. I take issue with that, Holden. But I do understand why they were upset. You know, they do usually do things as a team and make decisions, but this one they probably should have talked about a lot more. But Holden was just too into being his Holden and said, no, we got to get rid of it. It's got to die. Yeah, you kind of can't get rid of it, though. It's already out there. So the only way to properly combat it would be all parties be on the same page with it. It makes sense. So, again, I get why they were upset, but I'm still with Naomi. She did the right thing.
Yeah, but I will say for Holden, I do think that he was also right as far as wanting to kill off all of that stuff because we saw how easily it spread. So logically, without knowing too much, it would make sense. It's like, look, this is dangerous. It's not like a weapon that, well, because you can see throughout this season that they don't have control over this weapon. So in his eyes, he's like, we should just be destroying this. So I definitely get why. To me, it's more of a backstabbing thing. Like, you come to us and let us all agree on it, because I think they had some where they was going to give it to Mars, or that topic came up and they talked about it before they decided not to give it to Mars. I think that was season 2 or season 1. I can't remember. So they did have this type of system where they would at least talk about it. And I think that's the biggest thing, not the fact that she actually, well, no, the thing is that she didn't come to them first. She went behind their backs and did it. And I think that's what, especially all of them in a position, is basically everyone against them. So they don't expect some of their team to actually do something against them. But I do agree she made the right choice. It's just how she went about it.
Right. Yeah.
I would just add to that. I'm sorry. I would just add to that. They had a discussion. That's the whole point. That was the main reason why they were upset with her. Okay. They had a discussion. They talked about it. They all agreed. Okay. They all came to a consensus as a team that it should have been destroyed, and she didn't do it. That's what really made them mad. So basically, it's like, you lied to my face. You told me you was going to agree with something, and then you lied about it, and you didn't do it. And then when he went back to her and asked her about it, she was like, "Yeah," knowing that you didn't. I think that was the main reason why they were all upset with her, because she broke trust. Had she came back and said, "You know what? I know we all agreed that we were going to destroy it, but I couldn't do it, and here's why." She waited until after the fact, after she was found out, after she couldn't keep it a secret anymore. That's when she decided to say it. And not only did she say that she didn't destroy it, she goes and has to go one step further and admit that she told Fred Johnson where it was and told him how to get access to it. So that on top of that kind of like made it even worse. You know what I mean? Because she already understood that there was a tense relationship between the crew and Fred Johnson, herself included, because she was the first one to say that she didn't trust that dude. So I think that was one of that was the biggest thing that really made them upset, is that they all talked about it, they all agreed, and then she goes off and she does that, and it breaks trust. So she broke their trust, and especially with Holden, because now her and Holden are in a relationship, and you know she made such a big deal.
And
you know, I mean, that I think that also played a big part as to why Holden acted the way that he did with her, because they're in a relationship now. So
I think it really affected Amos a lot as well, because Naomi is usually like his moral compass, like, you know, that's his true north. So yeah, that coming through, that wasn't cool. I think it took Amos a while to be able to even push past that and see her the way he used to see her. I think, and you know, at the end of it all, I think he does understand, but like you said, it's the way she went about doing it. He wouldn't expect her to do something like that in that way. So I get it. That's like finding out your big sister is always on some bullshit when you thought she was the greatest thing ever. So I totally get why Amos was the way he was.
No, I definitely agree with you. I think the biggest relationship that got torn was with Amos, because they was together before she even linked up with Holden. I think it goes back to how she went about it, because let's say they all talked about it, right? And then she goes back and goes to Ames and like, look, I get what y'all are saying, but you know what? If she would have went back and at least tried to tell someone else, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. But it goes back to how she went about it, because I think everyone on this fucking show does whatever the fuck they want. Like, they be like, yeah, I feel what you're saying, but I feel like we should do it this way, and that's what we're going to do. And then you see everyone fighting with each other, and then, you know, they just have to wing it. That's what they've been doing the entire time of this show. So it goes back to what I was saying, where it's like, it's not even what she did, because she did contradict herself, but it's how she went about it. Because she did, like you said, I didn't remember, but she did. It's like she doubled down. Like, she had opportunities to tell them, and she just kept refusing, you know, that opportunity to actually make amends for what she did. So let's say, like, when he said, all right, did you really? And she'd be like, nah, it wouldn't have been as deep. He would have been hurt, because he'd be like, but at least she fessed up then. I'm asking you again, and you're doubled down. And then it's like, we don't find out till it's way too late. You've been telling me not to trust this guy, even though I was the first one to start trusting this guy. You were the one that insisted not to trust him because men like him. And so, yeah, that becomes a disconnect. And then you had Alex, who was a Martian, who wanted to give that technology to Mars. And you kept saying, no, we don't need to. So now with Alex, is coming off as you're only for, you're not for like everyone. Well, Holden is like, oh, I can't trust you, even though you've told me certain things, and I've come to you. Because Holden was the first one to tell Naomi that he was the one that put in for the distress call. So he's always been upfront with her. So there's that connection there. So she's like messing up relationships when people valued her so highly. I don't think they would have found an issue or would have been that deep if it was Alex, if it was Holden, or if it was Amos. They expect way much more when it comes to her. Even though that's fucked up, because like, we should all hold it accountable for each other, but it goes to how she did it, not what she actually did, which is the fucked up part about it.
I totally agree. So now, oh, I'm sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing too. Go ahead.
Okay, so now that their trust has been broken, she makes the decision now to go and be a part of the Behemoth, which is the new ship for the belt. So basically, remember the ship that was supposed to be for the Mormons, the Nauvoo? They've now repurposed it, and it's now called the Behemoth, and it now belongs to the belt. And so now the belt has now become an equal player in the whole Planetos scheme. So everybody now is an equal player. So you have the belt, Mars, and Earth. And
can
now
I just say how fucked up that is, though? That they stole that ship. I understand why they did it. I know you got to do what you got to do, but damn, bro, come on, man, you stole these people's life pretty much. Like, fuck.
And it was a religious.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying it's fucked up.
It was a religious ship too. Like, they was just praying to God, minding their business. They was like, okay.
Like,
and
they
then
just trying to get to their new Mecca. They ain't trying to mess with nobody. They just trying to go have their own little piece of paradise, and then here come the belt. Whoop, that's ours. I mean, I get it, but damn.
I low-key forgot they stole that damn shit.
Right, that is the biggest plot hole ever. Why is nobody coming after that damn ship anymore? Didn't they start like an actual case to sue what's his name? I don't remember his name. Tyrese from The Walking Dead. I don't remember his actual show name. But they were gonna sue him and sue the belt for the ship. What happened to that? It just got lost in disposition.
Well, the ring. Remember the ring? The protomolecule formed a ring. Now
they got way bigger problems than
True enough.
Okay.
I mean, I feel for them because really messed up what they did, but then it's like, we got this big ass ring and it just did some weird shit, and they was like, it was basically a massacre, and it didn't hit me until I don't know her name, blonde girl, when she was walking and she saw the dead bodies floating. Then it hit like, oh, whatever that thing where it stopped, it like did something with gravity where it fucked up a lot of people. You're mute. Beauty Queen, you're mute.
We can't hear you, Monero.
Beauty Queen, you're mute. It's a good thing she cute, y'all, because she just gonna keep going. Oh, you want to say poor baby so bad.
Okay, so they realized that the protomolecule does something with time and space, right? So they noticed that the closer that they are to the ring, that it causes there to be a difference in speed, right? So once they figure that out, right, they know like if they get to a certain proximity to the rings, that they have to be at a certain speed. And if the people who pick that up learn how to navigate going to the ring. Because I want to make that caveat. Remember the belter guy who actually tries to attempt to go through the ring, and as he's transversing through, his whole situation just like.
And that's a problem with belters sometimes. They don't know how to not be gung-ho about shit. He thought everything was going to be all roses and sunshine. He was going to get his girl back and be famous like so many other belters before him. And now, dude, now you're just dead. Now you're just dead because you didn't maybe take the time to try to understand what you were actually trying to do. Ridiculousness.
Are y'all talking the dude that was like trying to go around the ring and stuff, and he kept talking to his girl and she was like, you don't know the real me? I was like, damn, these folks ain't loyal first shit.
I don't remember what his name was on the show, but I know he played a serial killer in American Horror Story. That's where I recognize him from.
Oh no, poor thing. I'm like, why go so hard for a chick who clearly don't want you? Clearly.
No, but that's the thing. After he sent out that first message, she came back with the, if you pull this off, then you can have all the boobies and whatnots. And I guess that was a powerful enough motivator for him to double down even more on it. And then he got dead.
I'm telling you, the titty force will make you do some things. I'm just saying.
Man,
the titties got him killed, damn it. That's not a good thing.
Like how strong is her titty force to have a grown man be like, you know what, fuck life twice? Because it wasn't the first time he did it. It was like the second time. Like he upped it. I don't know. She needs to teach me her ways.
Why?
It's so much power. It's like to have
T about to be
make some man like say fresh.
She's taking notes from pimps. And now she's trying to be
right. No, I'm questioning your life decisions right now, T. I don't know if I want to see my sister go down this path, man.
You should have heard me when I was writing. I was like, oh, you got to do it like that. It's some really good tips, though. I'm just saying, I got 2 names for my company. If you want to join, I'll treat you right. I'm just wondering if I can have 2 bottoms at the moment, like one guy and one girl. But that's another story. It's another story.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
We could do a whole stream. We could do a few streams about that book. Just alone.
But AK, I promise you, you would enjoy it. You have to listen to an audio because he has like a pimp voice. It's called Pimp by Iceberg Slim. And it's like a story about a pimp in the 40s. But AK, the way he talks.
Okay.
And the jewels within 10 book, you'll understand why I want to be a pimp.
Okay, you got to throw one little thing in our hangout so I don't forget.
Okay, I definitely do because I can go into this pimp game. Okay, back to this.
Okay, so thank you OTDA for giving us that feedback. It was called the Epstein Drive, like how they go that fast. It was named the Epstein Drive when they go that fast. So like when they go like those.
Yeah, because the guy that discovered it, he killed himself basically discovering it. Yeah.
And then because it goes through the cycle of when he first discovers it and what happens to him as he's going that fast. And so you can see
they never picked it up, but I wonder like when was he found? Because he had a hell of a lot of fuel still left by the time he died. Like, who found his ship and was able to slow it down? Like, damn.
They never. I don't know if maybe in the books they might mention who found him because that's how they were able to discover it so that other ships can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after that whole fiasco happens, now everybody's trying to race to get through the ring, right? Meanwhile, we find this other young lady named Melba, right? This young lady named Melba is like a mechanic, and they go on this, her and these 2 guys, they go on the ship, and they're supposed to be doing some maintenance, and we come to find out that she is trying to install an explosive device, and then as she installs this explosive device, her supervisor comes around. And when the supervisor comes around and he catches her, there's a scuffle and she bites down on something because I couldn't catch what it was that she was biting down on or what she was doing. And all of a sudden she becomes Superwoman and clean cold. She takes him out. And not only does she take him out, she breaks his neck and stuffs him. And I don't know how it was that she was able to clean all that blood with just a shirt.
With just that one little shirt, no water, no soap, no mop, no nothing. And then you put the shirt back on. Where did the blood go? I was very confused about that. I get, you trying to clean up the crime scene, but how? That made no sense.
I was with you on that. I was like, this one dumb as shit. Eventually he gonna be missing, like, hey, what happened to boy? Like, and then it's funny you was saying like you couldn't catch what she was I guess biting. I don't think they actually showed it. But when I saw that, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do drugs in space. Like that shit's just too potent. I don't know why you want to do drugs with all that. When she was like, her eyes was going in the back of her head. Now she hawking out on motherfuckers. It's like, what's going on? But yeah, and then she was like crying. I'm like, but you killed them. He ain't asked to be killed. Like, you did that. She's like, I really wish you didn't look. Like, bitch, that's my job. That's literally my job.
Exactly. And you're the rookie. How would it look if some shit pops off and then they come and find out that you fucked it up while I was there not looking and ignoring stuff?
And
nah.
And then he tried to help you once, like, we can fix this before they even figure out what's happening. And you were like, nah, I gotta hog out on you. And then you find out who she really is. And then the back stuff's like, so basically you're just jealous. But
that's exactly what
I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad for him because it's like he seemed like a cool dude and he was all about her. Like he saw good potential in her. For you to just kill him, like I know it's your mission and everything, but like fuck you, bitch. I did not feel bad when like she broke her wrist and when that shit happened towards the end. Didn't feel 1 ounce of guilt for her. It's like fuck you. I don't know. He just seems so nice and sweet. It's like he deserved that. Kids. Bitch, she was trying to help you out, goofy hoe. It's not
that would have been a better course of action. Is okay, he caught you. Go ahead and take the help that he's giving you, fix it, and then maybe be a bit get back on your ninja game because he shouldn't have even seen any clue to go check anything out. Okay, you fucked up. He don't gotta die because you fucked up. You could have covered that shit up, and then the next day or later on that night when nobody's looking, you creep in and then you put the shit back, do whatever the hell it was you were doing. But then again, we find out who the chick it really is. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this bitch on some other shit. Her sister was more popular with dad and with everybody, and now she's trying to find her shine. And I'm like, you know what? I don't understand why you're going through all this. I think you could have gone about it in a better way. You know, I don't really understand what exactly your agenda was here in the beginning, but meh, that's just what it is. She's a kid, rich girl throwing another tantrum.
She panicked. That's what happened. And she panicked.
Let me just say, if you're not built for certain things, there's something
right.
Right.
But let me play Scooby-Doo one more time. Like, how she get all the blood off with that one shirt?
I don't know.
How, Sway? How?
It's impossible.
I know we in space. I know we got technology.
No, and like, she didn't. The shirt wasn't even soaking up the blood. It was just smearing it more all over the floor. They didn't explain that at all. Just one scene, it was smeared all over the floor. And then the next scene, everything was clean, and she was walking back to her station.
Wait, didn't she have to chew on the thing twice because she couldn't? This bitch ain't shit. She ain't shit.
That's why
she walked out to like push his face in because it wouldn't go in. This bitch is anything.
Why she should never have been doing any of that stuff. Her sister was the one that was good at being a ninja and being on her espionage and being a double agent and shit. You, little girl, need to go ahead and just stay at your daddy's house and plan parties because that's clearly what you were good for.
That is hilarious. Phil A says D&D worked on that episode.
The
shade of it all.
It seems just like something they would do because I was like, all right, so where we going with this? But she not the brightest one because she didn't think her shit through when she killed them. It was so many things she could have played it off, maybe went back because she gained his trust or something. But even if she panicked, she still ain't shit, y'all.
She sure enough wasn't. And to come to find out, so like the lady said, come to find out, she happens to be Julie Miles. I think she's Julie Miles' older sister. And so she was trying to win her father's approval. And she thought if she were to have James Holden be held accountable for the explosion that she set off, that they would so she would get arrested and she would have the opportunity to kill him, and then she would be able to set her family straight. But of course, it all goes awry. Listen, anybody who goes after James Holden, something always happens and they always end up in the doghouse. So it's like he has like plot armor. You can't mess with him right about now. You can't.
I have a question though. How is it that she worked out James Holden was the one to even blame for what happened to her sister? Your sister was part of the OPA, ma'am. That is a dangerous profession that she chose. That didn't have anything to do with James Holden. She was already going to be on some nonsense without him being involved, long before him and the crew got involved. So how did you break it down in your mind that all of this was James Holden's fault when he was the lead one actually trying to stop all of the nonsense? it doesn't compute. So here again, I'm questioning her logic because she over here fucking up, cleaning up blood stains the wrong damn way, or some other secret way that we don't know. And now she's come to this conclusion that her sister's dead because of something James Holden did. Maybe your sister's dead because she was an OPA operative that got fucked in a difficult situation. I don't know how you put blame for that on anyone but your sister.
But she knew what her sister was like. So it's like, come on. You ain't like your sister. We saw that flashback. You wasn't about your sister. You was jealous of her. And then your father basically damn near told you wasn't better than her because you even tried to step up and say you ain't your sister. Like, calm down. So no, you wasn't doing this for your sister. You was doing this for your father and to put that position. Because Holden's basically a thorn that's been ruining y'all plans. Like, he was there when y'all was messing with them damn kids. He was there when they found out he found out what Earth and Mars was fucking doing behind everyone's back. So yeah, I get why she was really just trying to kill him for her father's sake, because she wanted to get on his good side, because he did not see any value whatsoever in that girl. But he saw more in her sister, and her sister couldn't stand it. So it's like, no, baby girl, you're not mad because of your sister. You're jealous of her.
Mm-hmm. Facts, and that's all it is. You know, she's sitting there throwing a tantrum. Daddy won't pay attention to me. I mean, I'm sorry. How old were you? It's not like y'all are even children. Y'all were grown-ass women at this point. You haven't found a way to get over shit and maneuver around your dad and not give a fuck about him, just like he don't give a fuck about you. You're really still in your feelings this long about the shit? Come on, man. Do better. Do better.
If she was going to get mad at anybody, she should have gotten mad at Christian Avasarala, because she was the one that outed her dad and held up all of his assets. If she was going to be mad at anybody, it should have been her. I don't know why
and Aaron Wright. Her and Aaron Wright. Those should have been the two targets. But she can't easily go after two high political figures, so she got to try and go get the little guy that was actually trying to help shit. But you know, I guess that's logic for you,
right? So,
did we even talk about the babies? Was that season 3? When they was messing with the kids, or was that season 2?
This is season 3. We didn't get to that part yet.
Ooh, they was pissing me off messing with them damn kids.
So talk about it. So remember the guy who's on the ship, the guy that they found on Ganymede, right? Well, they found on Tycho. When they found him on Tycho station, they grabbed him because when they were doing their deduction as to where the protomolecule might be and what happened on Ganymede, they found him. And so when they found him, they discovered that, you know, he had a daughter and he was trying to find his daughter, and they kind of like pieced together that finding his daughter was going to lead to finding out what was really going on with respect to the protomolecule. And so yeah, and so this is where we kind of get the backstory. Like, we get like flashes about what's going on with the little girl and what happened to her after, you know, right before Ganymede exploded. What happened to her? What did the doctor do with her? Where did he take her? And so we find out that he took her to like this lab place where they had all of these other little children, and apparently they were using the kids to do experiments on. So when you found out that little boy, we found out that they inject this little boy with the protomolecule, and it seems that this little boy is now like, you know, highly functioning, like he has all of these new abilities. So he, in a sense, become like a little mini superhero, right? But in all things, it becomes an experiment that goes horribly wrong. So Jules Pierre Mao ends up getting to that area where they're at, and he's like talking to them and stuff like that, trying to figure out where they're at with respect to the experiments, the advancement of the protomolecule, and all of that. And then in the meantime, he's still talking back and forth with Aaron Wright and trying to get Aaron Wright to get all of his assets unfrozen. And then also at the same time, the Rocinante crew is, by reasoning of deduction, trying to figure out where these people are in order to go and try to rescue the daughter. So let's talk about what they were doing with the kids. So T, what were your thoughts?
AK, you want to go first about the kids?
Leave my babies alone. Why are we doing experiments on the tiny humans? Damn it. If you can't find a way to make that shit work with adults, well, maybe it just don't need to be done. Okay? Leave the kids alone. First of all, you're kidnapping. I don't care, how comfortable you tried to make that baby girl. She said, I want to go home to my daddy. I don't want to play anymore. Why are we here? And of course, she's a kid, so no explanation at all is given to her. And she just has to sit and watch all these random things happening. And poor, what the hell was the boy's name? I call him Koala Bear because I can't remember what his actual name was. I know it starts with a K. I just don't remember what it is. But he's little cute. What was he, like 9, 10 years old? Like, don't mess with the baby's DNA. It's cute that he can jump up to high places and bounce off walls and whatnots, but he's not supposed to be doing that, okay? Human children aren't built that way. Let the babies be, damn it. Those are my only thoughts on it, really. I had a hard time watching that whole sequence because my whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to kill this kid. No matter what happens with that damn protomolecule, however it turns out, they're going to have to kill him. And I really dislike that.
First of all, I hollered when you said koala bear. I could see it when I closed my eyes. That's hilarious. I was with you when they was messing with the babies. I was like, it was like when the way he was interacting with the little girl was creeping me the fuck out. I was like, he's like, let's play a game. I was like, ew, like, no, just take her to her fucking daddy. But I'm so glad that like he got to his daughter, even though I think it's too late, because I think that's going to be an issue because she was injected with that shit. And I think she's with her dad now. So
no, they said she's clean. If I remember correctly, they had run a test. Yeah, she's clear.
So then something's going to happen to that little girl if they find out that she was clear when they did some type of injection to her. But I felt bad. I was with you, like, that ain't cute what that little boy doing. Like, I get it, but he's glowing. His veins is turning blue. It's like, that's not cute at all. I was like, what the fuck? And then I felt bad for him because you could tell, especially when he was in the chamber and he kept, like, changing and they were, like, trying to calm him down. I felt so bad for that little boy. But then I realized he ain't the little boy anymore. He's that thing now. So I was like, you need to put it down and you need to do it now. And it was weird when he was just pulling it apart so that he could figure out the anatomy of a human. It was so gross.
Oh my God, that shit was. I had to take it apart so I could see how it works. What do you mean that's how you see how it works? You can go read a fucking book to see how humans work. What the hell's wrong with you?
But that's the same shit that, like, some Amos would say. Like, I had to kill him. Like, what do you want me to do? I don't understand. So, everyone on this show is so fucked up. But yeah, them kids, that was the one where I was like, okay, I want everyone to die, everyone to go. And then that's another reason why I didn't feel sorry for the dude and his daughter and all of that other stuff. Because it's like, yeah, this woman, you feel bad because, you know, her daddy don't love her and shit. But, like, fuck you, because your daddy was, like, doing this weird shit to kids. So you trying to do the shit to help your daddy do weird shit to kids. So, once again, fuck this hoe. I don't like her. I don't like her daddy. Her sister was okay at best. Like, she was starting shit, too. Like, fuck that whole squad. But I felt bad for the babies. Like, why touch the babies? But then I understood that, you know, it was because they had these rare diseases, and so that was the way for them to understand everything. But it goes to like, stop fucking touching shit. You realize if you ain't touched shit, this shit wouldn't even start to expand. It wouldn't start to get intelligence and want to learn everything, where it starts to create this fucking ring around Venus. Why? Because you wouldn't stop touching shit. That's why I say keep your hands in your fucking pocket, even in space.
Right. So now we understand how we get some kind of understanding of how the protomolecule works, right? So its way of understanding things is to take things apart, and it takes it apart to like the bare minimum, and it's very mechanical and mathematical in how it does things. And so if you looked at how he took that human being apart, and how he placed all of the organs in a particular way to say, like, so he was trying to figure out, okay, how does this work? We have to figure out how it works. Even when they were having when the doctor was talking to him, when he was inside of the chamber, he was like, we have to figure out the work. We're trying to work. And that was when they were getting ready to form the ring, right? We have to figure out how this works. We have to do the work, blah, 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 blah. And he couldn't understand what they were talking about. And I think this is where the whole thing with Miller comes in, right? Because after the ring forms, and then everybody now, what's his face? Holden goes with Miller, and they go into that, I don't know, they go down into Venus, and they go into that space, right? And then he tells Miller to complete the whole gibberish, right? That's when Holden goes through this, he has like all of these visions. He was totally having like a brand moment. He has like all these visions and stuff like that. And then
that whole Miller thing was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then, and remember, that's when Space Brienne, as AK likes to call her, and her crew comes down and tries to, get at Holden. And then, if you notice, when they were shooting off at the protomolecule takes the lieutenant, and he totally takes him apart, and then absorbs him. So we know that the protomolecule is some sort of organic matter, that it absorbs other organic matter, or it absorbs both organic and inorganic matter. So these are the things that we learn about the protomolecule. And then after Holden, quote unquote, completes whatever it is that he's supposed to complete, because I didn't get it, to be quite honest with you. I didn't understand what he was trying to complete, but he completes it. All of a sudden now, all of these pockets that he had seen in his visions, all of these pockets of worlds now open up. And so now there's an opportunity for different people to go and explore different areas of the galaxy. So what was your thought about that whole scenario? AK, you want to go first?
I honestly just stayed stuck on Miller's whole little thing, because even when he was alive, Miller was a trip. And now that he's I guess technically that he is somewhat alive somehow, because y'all know how the protomolecule works. There's still an essence of him that's actually there. He's even funnier and even more sarcastic to me now. Every time he would pop in and pop out, Holden's just looking like, do you see that over there? Holden, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, I'm gonna go over here now and maybe have some coffee or something. There's something wrong with me. I need to figure it out. And then after he accepts it, he starts getting more and more sarcastic too. Like, damn it, I gotta go talk to this dude. And they're like, talk to who? Miller, you bastards! Didn't you hear what I told you before? Oh God. So yeah, that honestly, I don't remember that much more about Miller's story. I just remember laughing hysterically at their interactions. And at the end, it was a little bit sad once, when he had the like building blocks to the thing. They were trying to patch that hole up. It was a bit sad when he finally went down again, but he'll be back. It's Miller. I don't see why they wouldn't bring him back for another cameo.
Yeah, Miller was like, that shit was funny, but what was interesting was that he kept on saying like he had to complete something and that the thing needed a ride. It kept saying that over and over again. And at the very end, you know, he has his brain moment, which I love the fact that you referenced that because that's exactly what he was having. He was having crazy hallucinations. But, okay, I sound crazy because my hands is now touching my thoughts. So hear me out, okay, y'all? I'm reaching for it.
I think my hands are touching my thought.
Because y'all know how when you reach for your thought, you try to pull that bitch. Like, it's right there. Let me say it before I lose it. So
yeah, I saw that, Monero.
Yeah, y'all know me. See, these are my girls. They get it. They don't even got to see me reach my thought. That's hilarious. Anyway, they kept saying like the thing needed a ride. And he kept saying over and over. And at first, I thought it was talking about the ship. Like they needed the ship to come into the ring, do something, and then go out. But that doesn't necessarily make sense because we know that that ship had a little bit of that molecule thing in it. And we know that, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring to do its thing or to take over because we've seen it on the outside. However, I know this is, my mind's out there, so I could be completely wrong. But I think when they said that they needed a ride, they were talking about like lodging info into his head. Because remember, they kept on talking about how they were showing him, Miller kept coming to him in his head, telling him how to get into it, telling him how to do this, telling him how to do that. Now, I don't know if it's exactly them that's controlling Miller or if it's his actual conscience. Like, I think he did die, but just like how she didn't die, her conscience was still alive. I think his conscience was alive. And like he said, he's good at finding things and he needs to know what happened. So he needs to look. But Holden and them, they're the ones that kind of piece all the other stuff together. So he knows that out of everyone, he can get a hold of them. Most likely Holden's the one that, you know, well, because they butted heads a lot, but they were still on the same path of what needs to be done. So I think that he knows, or I think that they got a quote unquote ride, which is through Holden. Because remember, he saw all of those images and it was for a reason. Because I just can't see them going through all of that work to get a ship when they could have easily got one. They've been on plenty of ships, so that's not it. But it was something that they needed to do for him to come into that ring to complete something for them to go back out. And the only way they could do it is if they answered. So that's why I think the whole ride thing is actually Holden. Holden is their ride. Because it's just weird how at the very end, it's like, he just has like this vision that goes right into his eyes. And I'm like, oh, you were the ride. But I could be completely wrong.
I agree. I agree with you because if you remember, when Holden asked Miller how it is that he could see him, he said, "Listen, I'm presenting the face of Miller, but it wasn't really Miller because Miller kept alluding to the fact that they keep taking him apart and putting him back together again." So every time Miller's consciousness tries to interfere, they snap him back in order for them to be able to talk through Miller. So basically they're using Miller's physical that his whole essence, as a way of communicating with Holden. And so that is how, and so whenever Holden is trying to figure out, okay, how is it that I'm seeing? He's like, listen, I could explain it to you, but you wouldn't understand it. Okay, so he tells him like a more like layman's term explanation as to how it is that they are able to communicate. And so he is basically, this is just Miller's consciousness that is now communicating with only Holden on that level. Now, how that happened, I don't really understand because I didn't get it when Miller said it. But let's just go with it. It was happening, and so now once he, like you said, once he had all of these visions, it was Miller that it was Holden that is now the vessel that they are using in order to be transported and to be taken to wherever it is that they're trying to go. And then Miller is just a form of consciousness that they use. And I don't know why they decided to choose Miller as the form to take. I don't know if it was because it was him that was with Julie Mao at the time when they crash landed in Venus, and he just happened to be the body that they used. They could have just as easily used Julie Mao's body, but they decided to use Miller's for whatever reason. And it could be very well because of the fact that he was a detective, and so he's good at finding things because he keeps alluding to that. So
also that he
I
had
agree
a
with
connection
you.
to Holden. Monero. They could have used Julie, but Julie didn't really have a connection to Holden. So I think Holden would have made very different moves if it would have been Julie that was projected to him. But the fact that it was Miller, he kind of rolled with it and did what they needed him to do.
Right, and then you also don't know about if her conscience survived or not. Because remember, they were in two different states. Like her body was gone, and it was basically just a conscience. And then he was basically still alive at the time. So it could be that. It could be like you said, that they knew he was a detective. And so it was better to use him, using his skills because they're basically using him as a tool. And she's okay, but if he has the tools to actually look at something, and going back to what you guys said earlier, they kept breaking him down and building back up, breaking him down. So maybe when they were dissecting him, they realized that maybe they saw his memories and realized he had a relationship with those people. It could be that they saw his skills as a detective when they broke him down. So we don't necessarily know for sure, but like I said, it could be either one of the examples y'all use. But it's just so crazy that what they were doing with like communicating, because they're basically using these people. They've used the actual molecule to spread the disease. They used it to communicate. They used it to control people. So even though that they're trying, the people are trying to use this technology basically to go to war with each other. It's like you open up this big box, and now it's like it's not really a weapon. I think that's what they were alluding to towards the end of the season, was like, we thought this was a weapon and a tool, and it's something much more bigger than that. And so you see all these people now know what's out there. Because at first, at the beginning of the season, they didn't know what was going on. Like you said, they were protesting, like, is it aliens? Like, what the fuck is really going on out there? And now everyone's starting to realize what's going on. So it's crazy. It's crazy, but I agree with you ladies.
Okay, so do we want to talk about the politics side of everything? Like everything that went down with Aaron Wright and the governor, and how everything just ended up like going sideways for Aaron Wright, and he ends up getting arrested, and then things kind of break down with the governor also. Also, do we want to touch on the behemoth and what went down there? Because there was like a power struggle between Jummer and Ashford, which eventually led to them getting like pinned down inside of down in someplace in the ship, and she kind of like sacrifices her leg in order for him to break free. And then he kind of he makes sure that she gets the medical attention, but he ends up assuming the position of being the captain of the ship, because she says that, because she thinks she's getting ready to die. So she says that he can go ahead. He would be a better leader, or he could take over as the captain. So she sacrifices herself for that. I don't know if you ladies want to touch on those dynamics a little bit. T?
I didn't have really that much to say on the politics. Well, especially this season, because they didn't really play a major role as far, well, at the beginning of the season it did, where you saw who was backstabbing, but they kind of wrapped it up quickly, and the main focus was what's going on in Venus. How are we going to fix this situation? Like, it wasn't really the only like quote unquote politics was more about power control within certain groups. So like you said with I'm about to call this whole iRobot. I don't know her name. I'm sorry. I'm an ass. But her and Homeboy, like their whole dynamic of, you know, they respect each other as far as they know they're on the same side as far as wanting belters to be given respect and to be equal players between Earth and Mars. But at the same time, I think the way that they go about things is where they clash at. So it's interesting because both of them I can see double crossing each other to get a mission accomplished, but at the same time, they would still do what it takes in order for this person not to die, because they still see value in that person. So, I mean, that was interesting, but like I said, it was so much else going on that they didn't really focus on politics that much, and more of what everyone's doing now that this thing is now out and everyone knows about it, and it's attacking as well. So it's like people, like I said, this was more about backstabbing, in my opinion, because everyone was doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do, whether it affected you or not. It was like the botanist, his friend takes his kid, puts blue shit in him. Naomi, you know, they had that whole quarrel with, you know, her backstabbing them. Then it was the news people where they placed the chip to do that. They were backstabbing. So it was like everyone was basically backstabbing each other, going against what they originally either planned or going against what someone just originally wanted to do. So to me, it was more backstabbing than it was dealing with politics.
And I'm going to second that. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on the politics at all.
So what do we have to look forward to for season 4?
Okay, so season 4, we get an introduction to a new quote unquote villain in season 4. And then another thing that we're going to look forward to in season 4 is we're going to find out that the protomolecule actually has origins, and we're going to kind of get a little bit into kind of some of the origins of the protomolecule and how it first came about. So yeah.
Is season 4 the season where some of them go blind on a ship?
Right.
Ooh. Okay. Am I going to like this new villain? Because you know I like twisted people.
Actually, the villain is the guy, I believe he played, he's the one that played, he played in the Game of Thrones. He's the one that played like one of the mutineers at Crafters on a Game of Thrones. So he always looks like a bad
guy. Carl Tanner, the dude that John fought with the knives.
He's the villain. Okay. But this is like the last season, and we're up to date, right?
Right. And so after that, we can start. Well, I would like to start reading the books and kind of doing book discussions until they figure out season 5, because I don't know what they plan on doing with respect to season 5. I think somebody has said that they already filmed it, but I don't know when they plan on releasing it. I haven't heard anything. So we can get into doing the book discussions to figure out, and then we can see, because they say that the show closely relates to the books except for a few minor changes. So we can kind of do like a compare and contrast.
I'm down for it.
I'm down.
Just let me finish my pimp book. Give me time to finish my pimp book. And then why do I exist? But yeah, I'm excited to read.
To bring us laughs. That's why you exist.
You bring me joy.
Huh?
Okay, so AK, what was your favorite moment of this season?
Favorite moment. I'm gonna say pretty much everything with Bobby. I think Bobby's probably my favorite character at the moment. Um, I really really hated how the little koala bear had to die, but Bobby did the damn thing, man. She was basically on her last legs too. Like she couldn't even stand up to give the final blow. She had to do that laid out flat on her back, and she was barely able to do that shit, but she pulled it off. The girl's badass, and yes, Space Brienne all the way.
It's Space Brienne forehead.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is that who she's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. I call her forehead because I'm telling you that's circumference. But this what pissed me off, because I'm gonna put it up there with this don't make no damn sense with like baby girl wiping blood with a t-shirt. So forehead, wasn't she arm wrestling with mechanical arms? Yet you couldn't handle that little girl. I was like, wait a minute. What's going on? Like, you should have went pop, pop, and then kept it moving. I could see if two of them was on. I could see if she had some armor that was like breaking. I was like, why aren't you working this girl? And I mean, that forehead was rocking. Okay, it went back and forth, back and forth. I was like,
you don't leave my girl her forehead alone.
No, she should have used her fucking forehead and been done with the situation. One headbutt and it's over. Okay. This is stupid.
What was your favorite moment, T?
I should have been thinking about it like a smart person, but I didn't. Let me see. It was a lot of cool moments. I think anything that Amos was in where he like basically just be so upbeat about killing people. He's like, I'm gonna have to kill him, but do what you gotta do. Anything he does. What was a good moment though? Well, when they was fighting that thing, Forehead. In fact, when Forehead was fighting when they were trying to rescue the kids, I think that probably was my favorite episode because like a lot of action and stuff. But yeah, I think anything with Amos was funny to me. So I enjoyed. Oh, we didn't talk about, because remember baby girl was like digging up his background and now she was getting a little too close. And I was like, he'll pop you like it's nothing. You're not that cute. Oh, okay. Thank you. Memories. Okay. That was my favorite scene. When remember she tried to throw herself at him. He's like, I don't eat where I should, or some shit like that. And then the dude came back like later on in the evening. He's like, oh, I heard she threw herself at you and you ain't take the bait. What about me? I was like, the audacity. Like, do you see the titties and the arms on this? Do you really think you got the look to take that dance? Like, I don't care if you're blind. I don't. Like, you tried it.
No, Amos straight looked at it too. And see, I don't think Amos would necessarily say no, but he just looked at him like, bruh, you couldn't handle me. Just please go over there. I don't like either one of y'all. Just And that's, and T brings up a good point with Amos. I just love how he's so nonchalant when he talks about killing anybody. Like when he was trying to fight who's their pilot, Alex. When they were having, he was like, dude, please don't make me fight you. I don't want to fight you, because if I do, then who's going to pilot the ship? Basically, you're going to fucking die if I had to put my hands on you. So go sit down.
I think they're going to get together too.
Amos and Alex?
Oh, no. I was thinking about Forehead and Alex.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait, well, okay. So yeah, I am in that same thought pattern. I totally ship them already in my head. Hopefully it happens on the show. I don't know. I just feel it would take somebody like Bobby to actually, pull Amos into any type of romantic anything. But we'll see.
So my favorite moment was the moment when Alex shoots the scientist. Because remember, the dad was telling his daughter to stay with stay with Amos, because that was his best friend in the world. And he goes in because he was getting ready to kill the scientist. But Amos comes in and says, and puts his gun down. And like, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. And so he leads him out, but he closes the door behind him. And then the doctor's like,
oh, thought he got off.
Thank you. And then Amos goes like, but I'm that guy.
Nah, bro, I'm that guy. Yes.
That sounds like some shit I would say. Be like, you know what? You know what? It's okay. They not that type of person. They nice and sweet. But me, I'm a fucking asshole out here. Like, I just closed the door so the babies wouldn't see it. Otherwise, you can get it. But I get why people like Amos, because he's got like a nonchalant way of thinking where it's like, I agree with him. Like, he's a little too lighthearted about killing people, but at the same time, it's like, I get it. Like, you gotta go. So, yeah, that was a good moment too.
If you think, well, wait till you get to season 4, because Amos has some real moments in season 4. Yes.
I have a question. Do they get more into his backstory? Because they was talking about, you know, no one really knows his origins. It sounds like they don't get into
other than that he was from B-More and that he was part of an apprenticeship. But I know there's a novella that's called The Churn, and it goes into his particular backstory. Like, they have like little novellas that go into each of the crew's backstories. Like, they have one for Naomi, they have one for James Holden, they have one for Amos, and I believe they have one for Alex. So it goes into their own particular backstory. So we could do those before we do the main series if y'all want to do that, because the novellas are like, they're not very long. They're like short stories.
I think I would be good for that. And you know what? That actually just made me think of something else. When they went to that bar and that some dude came in and was, you know, yelling at one of the chicks that Alex was talking to, and Amos came in out of no damn where and just stomped this dude out. And he was like, bro, where the hell did you even come from? He's like, oh, I got a place next door. He said, that's a brothel next door. And Amos was like, yeah. So literally, that always leaves me stuck wondering, like, motherfucker, what were you doing in Baltimore? What kind of life have you had? Shit.
The Churn, man.
Everybody needs an Amos. Seriously, everyone needs an Amos on their team.
I told y'all, everybody needs an Amos in the crew. Everybody needs one. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for coming and joining us and having this discussion. We're going to do season 4 next Saturday at 1:00. Hopefully everybody will be able to come back and join us for that discussion. I will be doing a Let's Talk on Tuesday evening, maybe around 7 or 7:30. You will see what the Let's Talk will be once you see the thumbnail, what it's going to be about. And then we're going to do the Lannisters part 3, where we're going to be talking about Jaime Lannister. And I was thinking about doing that on Thursday evening, maybe around 7, because I think that's usually a good time when people are off of work. So we'll see. Maybe I might do it on Thursday, or maybe I might do it on Friday. I'm not sure. No, it can't be Friday because we're doing pizza night on Friday. So we may have to.
Oh, a question also about pizza night. You do know that that's a TV show, right?
What's a TV show?
Space Force. That's a TV show, not a movie. So there's going to be some episodes.
Yeah, I thought it was a movie.
Nope, it's a TV show. So I think there's like 8 or 10 episodes or something.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because I haven't seen it and I didn't look at it. I just thought it was a movie.
I haven't watched it. I just know that it's got several episodes.
Okay, so maybe we might have to do a 2-parter. We'll probably just like watch like a couple episodes and then come back and watch some more, because I wouldn't want to do like a all-day binge unless people would be interested in an all-day binge. If it's going to be an all-day binge, then we probably have to schedule it for a different time and day.
In the morning, yeah. Like, I've done the all-day binge. It's possible to do it, but yeah. Hey, Steven, what's going on? Here Be Dragons is in the chat.
Hey! Yeah, so we'll, you know what? the next time when we do another live stream, we'll have a discussion about what we're going to do in that regard, because I honestly thought it was a movie. I did not know it was like an actual series. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to rethink that whole thing, and maybe I might have to choose a different movie. So you know what I'll do?
And then we'll reschedule it.
Right. You know what I'll do? I'll pick 3 movies. When we do our next live chat, I'm going to put the 3 movies out, and then everybody can vote which one they want to watch. And then we'll just use that as the movie night. And then we'll leave the Space Force thing for a different time. I think that will probably be best. Thank you for letting me know that, AK. And that'll be it for me. Ladies, do you want to sign off and let them to know what they can expect from you guys?
I honestly, my head is really just not that clear today. You know, I'm sorry, you have to go back and watch some of the other streams. They gave a whole list of things that were coming up. So you'll see me around. I'll just say that. You'll see me around. And thank you all for coming through, and thanks for hosting, Monero. It's always fun.
Don't expect shit from me. How about that? Just expect me to be in somebody's stream having a good old time. I know Beauty Queen, you're going to be like, what about the mangas? Let me read some more and then we'll talk. But now I'm trying something else out. Well, not trying. I'm looking at something and y'all going to be like, girl, really? I'm now going to watch Dragon Ball Z. No, Dragon Ball. I messed up because I started watching Dragon Ball Z before I realized, like, no, bitch, there's a whole series called Dragon Ball. Okay, I know it's like set in, like, it was in the 80s, and I've only watched, I think, an episode and a half, and I have questions. Have y'all seen Dragon Ball?
Yes.
Okay, so one, he's a little boy. Why they keep showing his penis? I just kept wondering that. It's like, and then
because
2,
it's anime and they don't care.
Yeah, but you know me, I'm like, this little kid too. Why was she shooting at this little kid? Episode 1, y'all. And baby girl, she was trying to steal his shit and was shooting at him. Like, what? So of course I was like, oh, I think I should watch this because this grown ass woman is shooting this kid. Sad, so sad, but that's where my head is at. And like I said, you know, I'm into that pimp book. So if y'all want me to tell y'all tips I learned from this book, let me know. And then of course, you know, we're going to be reading Expanse after this. So that's all you can expect from me. But like I said, don't expect shit. Yeah, that's about it for you, girl.
Good. So just be on the lookout for the things that'll be coming up on any one of our channels or wherever we may be along the interwebs. Okay, so just look out for that. Make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. All the links are below. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. And if you happen to catch this stream after on replay, leave any questions that you have in the comment section, and hope to catch you guys in the next one. I'm gonna go check my DM and see the message that you sent me. So I saw that. Thank you again, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us on this Sunday. And
happy Father's Day to any of you dads out there.
Right. I don't have a dad, so I always like block that off. But happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there.
Mm-hmm. And maybe Stannis can find his daddy one day.
Leave Stannis alone.
Go find your real daddy, ho.